Good morning, artists. Mrs. Langless here, and today we are going to come back to our work on drawing animals and focus in on a really amazing animal, the giraffe. And we're also going to do kind of a different viewpoint. So instead of drawing the entire body, we're just going to focus in on the head and it kind of looking straight forward at us. They have really beautiful faces and beautiful eyes with long eyelashes. They're just the coolest animals. So I thought that this would be a fun one to do. All right, so what you're going to need is a piece of white paper and a pencil, and I always like to have a nice eraser on my pencil because I make lots of mistakes. Remember, that is how you learn things and how you get better as an artist. Mistakes are encouraged, and usually my best artwork comes from mistakes. So let's get started. I'm going to grab my piece of paper and I just want to show you something really quick. So sometimes when I'm drawing and I want to put things in the right place, I actually fold my paper first. So what happens is it creates kind of a grid on your paper to help you with placement. So I'm just going to take my paper and lightly fold it, okay? And then, so I folded it the long way, and now I'm going to fold it in half, if I can make the paper cooperate here, my goodness. I'm gonna line up the edges and then again, just lightly crease. Now, when you do that, what happens is it creates this really cool grid to break up your paper, and it helps you with placement. So I'm gonna hold my paper the long way since giraffes have a very long and sort of narrow type of head. But if you'd rather hold it the other way, it's totally up to you. So we are going to start first with a large U for the mouth. And I'm going to place the U using my grid, okay? I'm going to place the U toward the bottom of the paper. I'm going to leave a little bit here, and then I'm just going to make it here. So the grid kind of helps you to make it also not only just where you're placing it on the paper, but it allows you to make it sort of the same on both sides, which we call symmetric. So when one side matches another, it has symmetry or is symmetric. So that grid really helps you out with that. Okay, now I'm going to keep on going. So the next step is to add the nostrils on top. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to make a shape. It actually, it's almost kind of heart-shaped, but it's like an open heart. So I'm going to come right here and make kind of a rounded shape that comes down, okay? And then another rounded shape that comes down, kind of like this. And again, I'm trying to sort of match it up with what I'm doing on the other side, and I'm not doing a very good job of it. So if you struggle with that, don't worry, I'm right there with you. That's why we work in pencil, right? And not in marker, so that we can erase. Now I'm going to come back and actually make the nostril openings. So kind of goes like this, round and down, almost like a teardrop or a raindrop kind of a shape. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. And again, I'm going really lightly because I know I'm going to make mistakes and I'm going to need to erase. All right, so now you can kind of see that how it looks a little bit more like the snout and the nostrils here. And now I'm going to start the sides of the head. So I'm going to go right to just below where I made my little nostril openings here. And I'm going to make a shape that kind of comes up and then gets a little bit wider. Okay, and I'm going to really try to do the same thing on the other side. So I'm going to start right about in the same spot. I'm going to kind of curve up and then go out. And it's okay if it doesn't match up perfectly. No worries about that. Now we're going to angle in to draw up to the horns. The horns, I think, are like kind of the coolest part of the giraffe because they're so unusual, and from what I understand, they're actually used as part of their hearing. So, they can sense predators and things coming from far away. So Really cool. My son and I have been kind of obsessed with this show called The Zoo. And it's really cool because, you know, although I don't really like to think of, I like to think of animals in their natural habitat. You often see these really cool animals when they're in a zoo, you know, because we're not close to their habitat where we live. And so it's pretty cool. You can learn a lot about them, and they really help with all the conservation efforts to, you know, keep the populations going and everything, which is pretty awesome. All right, now let's go to the horns now. Okay, so I just left off right here, and what I'm going to do is I'm now going to round these and then come down. And again, it's going to create kind of like a little bit of a U shape, and I might end up wanting to make those a little bit longer. I think I'm going to erase. I'm almost off the paper here. And again, so you're really working to try to get those to match up, and that grid can really help you with that. I think it's pretty good so far. I almost wish I had done it a little bit longer, but that's okay. Maybe this is like a baby giraffe instead of an adult giraffe. All right, so I made the horns. Now I'm going to draw the beautiful large eyes on my giraffe. And really, they're on the widest part here, or the part that comes out the furthest. And the shape kind of looks like this. So it comes forward here toward us, okay? And then it rounds down. And they've got these really, like I said, beautiful eyes. I'm going to make a circle now in there as well. And usually I like to overlap, so it makes that really look more realistic. And then they have these really beautiful eyelashes, so you can kind of make curving lines that come out, and it makes them look more realistic. Okay, now I'm going to, this is where it gets tough. I'm going to try to do the same thing on the other side. And usually that first eye is like super easy to make, and then you get to the other one and it's like, oh man, how am I going to make it look the same on the other side? So I think I'm kind of there. Now I'm going to do a circle again that's overlapped by the eyelid, and then the beautiful long eyelashes that come out from our giraffe. Oh my gosh. Now that I'm adding the eyes too, I really wish that I would have made it longer. So that would be something that I would definitely go back to on this. But like I said, I'm just going to roll with it. You know, we all make mistakes. Draw the large eyes. Now, the next step is to add the ears and the neck. So I'm going to come up just above my eyes, and I'm going to draw a line that kind of comes out a little bit, and then it curves up and comes out, and then curves back down, kind of like this. Okay. And I can make a little bit of a curve here to show that like there's an indent there. And again, I'm going to try to do the same thing on the other side. So I'm just kind of following where it is on the other side. I'm going to come out and curve up and come out and then come back down. Let's see, I ended kind of right here, so I'm going to try to end on the same place. This one looks a little bit smaller than the other one, but that's okay. I can come back and tweak that all later. I think that's looking pretty good. Yeah. All right, next. So I'm going to add the patterns next. So we all know that giraffes have these like really cool spots. And they also have this kind of like line of color that comes down to their nose. So we can start that on either side. Coming down to the snout. And then I'm going to add some spots. I'm just going to kind of make these sort of like what we did on our sea turtle. You know, they kind of, in a way, sort of fit into one another. Kind of like this, okay? I'm going to do some over here too. And I'm not worried about the spots really being symmetric, making them match up on either side. So there's that. Now I can add in the neck. So I'm going to come down here, and I'm going to make him kind of curving off, and maybe here too, okay? And then I can add in some more spots. Uh-oh, I'm off camera here, so let me pull it up. Hopefully you can see my lines, because I know that when I go with nice light lines, it's kind of difficult to see. So I'm going to just add these spots in here. And maybe one more right there. So far, so good. Now, at this point, if you want, you could also add in some background features, or you could color the background a solid color. I know on that other one, it has these really beautiful clouds. So I think I'll just add in a couple of clouds here to look like, you know, his head's up in the clouds, and then maybe he's munching on some trees. So these are going to be the tops of trees right here in my artwork. Okay. So here is my drawing. Now that, you know, those are all the steps of the process. But at this point, what I would do is take a black marker, or any other color marker for that matter, and go ahead and trace. You can also just trace by going back and really, you know, pressing down. Now that you know what you want your giraffe to look like, you can just kind of go over your lines with the pencil if you want. And then add color. On my other one, I used markers, but you can use any coloring material that you would like to really bring your giraffe to life. And yeah, I think he kind of does look like almost like a baby giraffe or something. So I'm pretty happy with that. So I hope that you guys have a great time doing this as well. Check out that grid to see if it helps you. And then send me your fabulous giraffe drawings. I can't wait to see them. And I hope you enjoy it. Take care, everyone. We'll see you next week.